What an exciting look at the AMD Instinct MI300 series. The MI300A is the world's first data center APU to combine CPU and GPU in one package, while the MI300X, which we'll be discussing in detail today, is the most advanced accelerator for generative AI. These innovations are setting new standards in AI performance, powering the most demanding workloads. Again, I want to welcome you all to the AMD Meet the Experts Partner Series webinar, Discover the Future of AI Innovation and AMD Instinct Accelerators and Seekr AI. Again, I want to remind everybody that these webinars will be available on demand, and we're going to dive deeper into all of what MI300 in just a moment. So before we can do anything, I do want to talk about how you can engage with the platform. If you have questions, feel free to go ahead and send those through the Q&A, and I have a video to show you how to engage with the platform in more detail. So let's roll that video.
Let's talk about how you can engage with the webinar platform. To the right of the stream, you'll notice multiple engagement tools. Let's take a look at those engagement tools now. First, we have the resource tab where you find useful links related to today's content, including the Seekr homepage. We have arena courses. You'll also find the AMD Meet the Experts webinar hub, along with an opportunity for you to reach out to an AMD sales rep. Also in the resource tab, you'll find today's presentation in convenient PDF format for you to download. If you have a question, head over to the question and survey tab. Here is where you can ask a question to our presenters. You can also like and respond to questions posed by others. Also, before you go, please make sure to fill out the survey. There are 3 questions. We do value your feedback, so make sure that you fill out all questions before you go and submit. There is one question that requires text. If you don't have an answer, simply put in NA or not applicable, but we would love to hear what topics you'd like to see in future AMD Meet the Experts webinars. Finally, the Meet the Experts tab offers a window into the professional lives of today's experts. Go ahead and click here to learn more about our presenters. You can also link with them on social. I encourage you to do that. And finally, you can close this sidebar whenever you'd like, if you would like to minimize it. And also, when you're asking a question, you can ask those questions anonymously if you prefer to do so. Thank you, and those are the engagement tools.
Again, today we are going to be diving into AMD Instinct MI300 accelerators and how they are transforming AI. We're going to be discussing our collaboration with Seekr AI, which is powered by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, enabling organizations to scale and deploy advanced large language models with exceptional performance and efficiency, driving innovation, ensuring reliable, trustworthy content at scale. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what we'll be covering in today's session. We're going to be talking advanced AI models, how Seekr uses AMD Instinct MI300X accelerators for LLMs. We'll be getting into the Seekr Flow AI platform. We'll be talking about data processing at scale, the importance of high memory capacity and bandwidth, faster insights, reducing costs while boosting AI performance. And then, of course, all of that collaboration between AMD, Oracle Cloud, and Seekr AI driving this AI innovation. And of course, as I mentioned in the video, we are going to be getting into some questions. We received some questions ahead of time that we will use as prompts after we give you a little bit of a background of Seekr AI. And as questions come in, we'll be asking those live. As I mentioned in that video, you can ask your questions anonymously, so there's no reason why you should not get your questions in. But with all that, I do want to bring on our experts now and get started. So let's go ahead and bring on Rob Clark and Scott Poole. Rob Clark is the president and CTO of Seekr Technologies, bringing over 20 years of experience in AI and innovation. Rob will share insights on AI advancements, Seekr's reliable LLMs, and how AMD Instinct MI300X is helping to drive this success. Rob, I know you've been traveling. You just got back from Dubai. Maybe you could just tell a little bit about what you've been doing while traveling, and all of this exciting developments around Seekr AI.
Fantastic. No, thanks for having me, Ryan, and great to be here with Scott as well. But gosh, jet lag aside, one thing is very clear, and that's AI is transforming people's lives. So all over the world, Middle East, US, Europe, the whole gambit as well. And really, my recent travels have underscored that. And there is literally hundreds of billions of dollars being earmarked to elevate people's lives globally through AI, and that we're very proud to be a part of that, working with the public and private sectors across continents and regions. So again, if I fall asleep, it was the jet lag, not anything else. Wonderful to be here, and really excited to share what we're doing, showing AI really a universal language kind of across society and places, and a great partnership, and really the performance we're getting out of AMD, their accelerators, all within Oracle.
And Rob, in your little intro, I want to make sure you are going to discuss how you started Seekr AI, correct?
I promise I shall do so.
All right,
Absolutely.
because I'm excited to hear how it all came about. Scott Poole, who is filling in for a sick Tyler, it was so gracious to step up to the plate. So I'm excited to have Scott here. He's the Senior AI Market Development Manager for AMD Instinct GPUs. He drives growth for Instinct AI Accelerator line. Scott, maybe you could just talk a little bit more about your role and how you see MI300 accelerators transforming the AI landscape.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks for having me here as well. I work a lot with startups and middleware partners at AMD, basically getting them to experience the MI300X and its performance capabilities, and then help guide them to where they can acquire that compute out in the public realm. The MI300X, as these models, generative AI models in particular, are pushing, the size boundaries we're familiar with. The memory capacities and memory bandwidths of these underlying GPU products are very important. And the AMD MI300X has, as many folks know, 192 gigabytes of HBM memory, and that enables a lot of flexibility around these generative AI models, whether it be fitting a larger model on a single node, or whether it be larger batch sizes or larger context windows. We enable that exploration that a lot of folks are doing right now around generative AI.
Well, we're excited to get into it. I know our first prompt will kind of deal with memory bandwidth. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Rob, who's going to give us a little bit of insights into Seekr AI. And then we've got a lot of time for questions. So I do want to encourage you all to get your questions in. So Rob, over to you.
Fantastic. No, thank you again. So the last 20 years for me have been all about building vast distributed technology systems. So large scale software, large scale hardware together, and then really building the teams that power them as well. So that career has really been focused on large scale data collection, processing, and information retrieval as well. I was one of the original founders of Intent and Vertical Search Works. We built one of the first full OEM search engine platforms, everything from crawling, fetching, ranking, the mobile browsers, ad serving, the entire thing. And we licensed that to the largest telecommunication companies across Europe, across other regions, including TeliaSonoria, so 29 affiliated telcos, all large data, all search, all retrieval. Also built Turkey's largest national search engine, better local language support, better local results, actually one of the fastest growing apps on the app stores within Turkey as well. And kind of through that entire career, we needed to use machine learning, various levels of AI in the different forms it came in back then, from linear regression, NLP, other techniques as well. And I always remember telling my boss when I asked for some consumer grade GPUs to do some parallel compute, he must have thought I was bananas at the time for even asking, but we started, and really that's grew and developed as we moved into more of the AI phase of enterprise AI delivery as well. But really that history and that DNA within search is really what leads into what we're building right now with Seekr as well. So Seekr today is really one of the leaders within enterprise AI. All of that expertise, myself as a search expert, the great team we've brought, looking at the transformation in AI, we began to see one of the biggest problems of search is actually magnified when you get to AI. The quality of information coming in has a direct impact on the results coming out. So the last 5 years, myself and the Seekr team, we've been heavily focused on really the things that make AI successful or not. And the quality of data was really the most important part of it. So we sat down 5 years ago and we really started with a vision that really people should be informed and not influenced. So we looked at what was going on in society with Cambridge Analytica, with the elections across multiple countries. We looked at how information was being used to influence people, their thoughts, and really how AI not only enabled that, but in some places kind of magnified it at the same time as well. And that's really transformed, we've really transformed itself into providing the highest quality of data, the most accurate results, and importantly, how enterprises, how businesses can provide production quality AI solutions across their business. We want to reduce the errors, we want to reduce the bias, we want to reduce hallucinations, we want to make it easier for AI adoption. And we really believe that, and our vision is that the enterprise will achieve a state of general intelligence that will be based upon intelligent and rational agents, thinking, rationalizing, reasoning, understanding, and they'll perform high-level operations to ensure the integrity and quality of the outcomes within business as well. And over that short period, we built over 20 patents, granted and pending, on how one sources, identifies, qualifies, and creates an AI environment that can be deployed with trust, responsibility, and importantly, explainability as well. Everything we do at Seekr is all about trust. That's trust developed from the hardware, from the software, how all of that packages together, and how all of that compute actually delivers those results to the customers. Trust is something that's earned. We do that through our platform that we call Seekr Flow. So really, after the initial kind of, let's call it the FOMO phase of generative AI, where bosses were asking their employees, what are we doing with enterprise AI? Where's our chatbots? Why aren't we doing it? As that kind of crested over, we started to see, and we had enterprises and customers coming to us because they'd really stalled in three core areas. Number one was the accuracy. So base models off the shelf were not enough for enterprise AI. There was errors, bias, hallucinations, subjectivity, and just also this general great knowledge across the board, but it wasn't specific to any industries, any verticals, and something else needed to be done with it. And we saw a lot of this was actually coming from models that were trained on popular data, not necessarily credible training data. Those last 5 years, we really built the tool set to understand that credibility and reliability of data, because that impacts the downstream impact for a company and how they interact with their customers. And number two is the complexity. Like, I've never seen a more complex time of people stringing together different components to set up AI systems and infrastructure underneath as well. And I think so. A recent study I saw, the estimates were only 15% of enterprises felt that they had the infrastructure, not just the hardware, but the hardware, the software, the tooling on top to really support an AI system within their business. And then lastly, the data question came up time and time again. Do I have enough data? Is it high enough quality? Do I need a data science team? How do I turn my company's information and data into something that's usable within AI? And then as we stick to that data theme as well, people were asking, where is all my company data going? Where's that IP that I've amassed over years of operating my business? Where's the data from my customers typing in a prompt going at the same time? Is it leaking? Is it going into other people's models? Is it being used in a common model by a model provider, and my competitors are getting directly the benefits of all of my work and IP? And really, those three factors, how those are stalling, have some bad outcomes if not dealt with. Best case, the generative AI never goes live. There's poor ROI. There's money being lost. I heard a number, 400 million per year being lost on underperforming models. Worst case, if you don't address them, brand embarrassment, financial liability, legal liability. And we've all seen the horror stories in the news, on Reddit, everywhere else that make this look absolutely terrible. So really, we set out to solve that with Seekr. So earlier this year, we launched our complete end-to-end AI platform, and we call that Seekr Flow. So think of Seekr Flow as the AI foundry. And with a foundry, there's a common set of requirements. We continue to build on that industry optimized tool set, models, everything in there. But then there's also unique attributes based on the specific products that our customers are building. And that's really how you should look at that entire foundry platform. The single platform to train, validate, scale, and deploy trusted AI. So complete end-to-end from the chip all the way up to the app and interaction with the customer as well. We run that entire length without you needing to drag and drop, pull all these different providers in or different tool sets, different technologies. We want to give you that entire end-to-end solution, and we want to give you the best possible price performance that we achieve using AMD's accelerators. So Seekr Flow is hosted within our cloud, as well as installable within existing cloud providers if you're using any of the existing hyperscalers, but also on your premise as well. We want to solve the data security problem. Install within your premise, your co-location, or also as tight right down to an air-gapped appliance installation as well. Your data is your data. We've always respected that. And really, we build trust into every step of the AI lifecycle. So how do you generate and verify the data to train your models, detect and correct those errors, right down to the very root data source? We'll show you where, pinpointed, and then also reduce the errors and bias right from the start, right when you're training a model, right when you're picking a foundation model, right when you're importing your data, all the way through to guardrails when it comes to inferencing. So I talked quite a lot about how we solve that data problem as well, but ultimately we have a multi-agentic workflow that automates dataset preparation. Our customers can take that data in any format that it's currently in. So bring your own data, PDFs, your website, your internal intranet, product catalogs, internal documents. Bring all of those in the format they're in, import them into the system. We make that simple. We look for errors right off the bat. Is there duplications? Is there misleading information? Credibility problems? We understand, we expand, we synthesize, we reason, and the output of this is a data set that's AI model training ready, a high quality data set. And again, all contained within your system. The privacy is there, the security is there, so you can train an accurate industry ready model. And obviously that saves a lot of time. When you can go from weeks, months of trying to prepare data, you might not think you have the staff that you need to build it. We make that simple and straightforward, save time, save cost, save all those complexities. And look, we're dealing with some of the most complex problems that enterprises deal with today. And for me personally, the biggest validator is who are our customers, who our customers are, who our partners are as well. And you'll see a snapshot here of many of those, and obviously we're excited to have AMD on that list as well with the partnership and what we're building together, but especially those best in class across many industries and many use cases within each of those as well. So let me double click a little bit on supply chain, for example. We work with one of the largest leading supply chain risk management companies in the world. An example of the problem that they're helping solve, one of many. You look at the airline industry, they have tremendous risk, potential market value loss as well from a single set of mistakes made in the supply chain. For example, the FAA was looking at counterfeit titanium used by major airline manufacturers in commercial airliners and jets as well. That companies using Seekr Flow, our technology, to ask questions like, where did that titanium even come from that was used within those products? That's able to search across trillions of part numbers, manufacturers, suppliers, places, people, and to be able to do that accurately, so no hallucination, no subjectivity, look across all of those vast sources and come back with a single reasoned answer, like a very different approach than people are used to. Analysts clicking through, people searching and having to choose from many different links within a set. We solve all of those problems. And for me personally, I love AI solving real world problems. So going above and beyond just chatbots and efficiencies, where can our customers, where can Seekr's customers leverage generative AI for completely new revenue streams as well? Now, in order to build models of that size and models of that accuracy and run searches like the one I mentioned within milliseconds across that vast scale of data, we needed AI accelerators with the right processing power, the right memory, and the memory bandwidth. And I'll explain why in a moment. But simply put, that's why we chose AMD and why we chose their Instinct 300X AI accelerators. And I'm thrilled to share the results that you can see up there, directly taken from the Seekr Flow AI platform running on top of AMD's Instinct accelerators. our throughput exceeded 2x the performance for our existing workloads just by switching to the Instinct 300Xs. And we achieved these results across small models, large models. Really excitingly, we put it through its paces with some incredibly large content lengths up to 128K and saw those super fast results. And just to put that in perspective for you, it's the equivalent of feeding a large novel, so 120,000 words, into the prompt and having it return answers within seconds. And those work lengths span those different model sizes, different model architectures, dense transformers, mixture of experts, for example, as well. And for us, really, that chip software layer is as critical to the performance as well as the chip capability itself. So ROCm, it's proven robust, critical workload ready, and most importantly for us, it supports not just current standards, libraries, and capabilities, but also more future, more advanced, more things that are coming out as well. We're always looking to support different classes of models for our customers. They're always asking us for latest advanced features. What about speculative decoding? And we've been incredibly happy that the platform that exists within ROCm and also the hardware and its capabilities on the 300Xs fully support that as well. So as great as that raw performance is, we then started to look at what's the optimal price performance as well, like maximum compute at the lowest price. And we want that for ourselves because we want to pass that on to our customers as well. As the price of AI goes down as well, we want to ensure that the performance continues to go up. And performance to us is accuracy. It's the right models. It's the most rapid responses to our customers as well. And then lastly, we really look into the future as those workloads related to real-time processing and inferencing move towards the edge as well. So workloads running in multiple locations. And really, as we looked at AMD's roadmap, we saw a very clear vision and an unwavering drive when it comes to have the highest performing AI accelerators within the right places, whether that's within the data center, whether that's more edge served against the customers as well. So we're very excited with what we've been building, the problem it solves for enterprises, and that's really been made possible through this recent partnership with AMD.
Well, let's switch things up. That was awesome to hear from Rob Clark. We are going to get into our question and answer section. So if you have questions from the audience, we will get to those as we kind of answer these prompts. Thanks again so much, Rob. And I know we don't have a question right now for ROCm software, so I'm going to throw that in as we go along because I want to hear more about that. But let's go ahead and bring Scott and Rob back on, and we'll start with our first prompt, which is why is high memory and bandwidth critical for generative AI workloads? So Rob, Scott, I'm going to start with you, Rob. Do you want to take this first, and then I'll have Scott kind of add some details from an AMD perspective?
No, absolutely. Look, from our experience, there's really two sides to this. One is the training side. So when you're talking about distributed training, the high memory and that bandwidth and throughput are critical to it. So distributed training that spans a single GPU on a tens of GPUs onto hundreds into the thousands, there are data types like the model weights, parameters, gradients that all need to be distributed and also moved around very rapidly as well. And these types of data, they're typically large. So that bandwidth ensures, we can fit them into a single card, but also very quickly move them across that distributed set as well. And then from the second point of view is really when it comes to inference, how efficiently can you do that? So having that large memory, a high amount of memory and a large fast memory bandwidth really lets us use things like batching requests, parallel processing, reducing that latency and overall throughput for a better overall performance. And really that's a faster response to the user. We want to train bigger, we want more accuracy, and then when it comes to serving those results, we want to fit more into memory and we want to get those to the user as quickly as possible. We want to cache as much. We want efficiency from caching that prompt, the context. You don't have to do all the attention operations over and over again when you have a larger memory at your disposal, like on the 300Xs.
Yeah, that was a pretty comprehensive response there. Very nice. I was thinking one thing, I could add to that, and I would just come at it from like really the memory capacity angle and, these large models. And we like to point to Llama 3.1 405B as a very strong indicator of what, higher capacity memory gets you, because you can fit 405B on a single MI300X node. So if you were to use a competitive product, you would have to use two nodes. It just spills over. It doesn't have the memory capacity. So there's a very clear TCO advantage on a great number of use cases as a result of the specs of this product.
Well, thank you guys. Let's go ahead and get to our next prompt, which is what types of enterprise use cases. Now, you talked about enabling, the people that are using your platform, Rob. So maybe we can get into some specifics. You don't have to mention specific names if you can't, but get into some use cases and workloads and how. And then I also want to talk about how AMD is helping Seekr to solve these sort of use cases.
No, absolutely. So I gave you an example earlier within supply chain, but let me take the telecommunication companies that we work with as well. So we work with four of the very largest in the world as well. And the reason I point that out is the company is one thing, the many hundreds of millions of subscribers are another thing as well. And all of these telecoms, they're all looking around, how do I translate what I've traditionally done with data, with voice, with text, into really digital services. And we see that even more internationally as well, where the phone provider, the carrier, is providing all of those digital services for their customers, their banking, their health, all of those pieces. And what's clear is they see, and we see using the Seekr Flow platform with them, how we can enable those digital AI services for each of those customers. So we want that subscriber, that user, to chat with their health, want them to use those apps for AI enabled. And obviously what's super critical there is it's got to be accurate, and those responses have to be real time. Now, when it comes to scale, think about those 100 millions of those users all interacting with those same AI capabilities and products all at the same time as well. And again, that's why AMD lets us meet that demand. We're talking about scale. We're talking about use cases where they're interacting with a combination of their personal data, industry optimized models, and how to get a very accurate experience out of that as well.
Yeah, when I think about the workloads that AMD is, sort of enabling a bit more efficiently than any other options, my mind tends to drift towards our GPU partitioning. Now, we're able to support, a full 8-way division of the GPU. So a node with 8 GPUs would actually have 64 sort of virtualized GPUs. And this is particularly useful when you have smaller models. Now you have models on the smaller side, and you want to parallelize that serving and make the underlying GPUs as efficiently used as possible. And this is a particular feature that we've been looking at with Seekr, and I think it's really representative of the power of the underlying both the hardware and our ROCm software stack.
I do want to give kind of a follow-up question to use cases, because one thing we do hear a lot of in this AI space is, these companies don't necessarily know what they want to use AI for all the time. So is part of your role, Rob, kind of consulting and making sure that you're providing that feedback for people of how best to pivot and do what they want to do to solve their problems?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And again, when we come back to accessing complexity, what we find is many of these customers have tried something. So they've gone to a particular service, they've tried it out, they've heard about it, and they keep coming back when they hit those walls as well. So we put a lot of emphasis on a very intuitive platform, and B, call it solutions engineers. So people that understand their industry, their vertical, and can help them make that shift. Because the whole wave of go and do AI, and people just said, great, let's put AI in there. But really, they didn't know what that meant, how to achieve it, what it really was. And also not a case of, let me just show you all my data and AI will magically do something with it, figure it out. We always tell our customers, start with the use case. Don't start with the infrastructure. Don't start with the complexities of doing it. We take care of all of those. what's the one use case? Explain it as a human would, as if you were optimizing or a business process, as if you were looking at a new feature or capability within your company. Then we can help show you where AI actually fits within that, and you can actually get ROI from it at the same time by a quick, fast, accurate path into production.
And Scott, is that sort of the approach you take when you're dealing with all of these different companies that are coming to you? Is it focus that on that use case and then look at the infrastructure?
Yeah, that's pretty much the process we follow. We want to understand, the use cases and the workloads in as much detail as possible. This is a very fast moving space, as you can imagine. We have innovations that come out every 3 months, it seems like, and our customers demand us to support those and roll them out. And then, once we have demonstrated our performance and our support for whatever the stack may be for a particular client, we move to the infrastructure and help them secure that however is needed.
Well, I do want to prioritize, so I'm going to kind of bring us on screen because I do want to prioritize some of the questions that we're getting from the audience. So we won't have our beautiful slide to give you guys that prompt, but how are security concerns addressed when running AI applications on these accelerators, especially in sensitive sectors? So we'll start with you, Scott, and then I think we'll move over to you, Rob, with the platform. So we'll start from a hardware perspective and then move over to what Seekr AI is doing.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I was trying to find it in text here, but
how are security concerns addressed when running AI applications on these accelerators, especially in sensitive sectors?
So generally, when it comes to data privacy and security, we support on-prem deployments in a different modes. Sometimes folks will just want to deploy. They have their own data center. They'll want to deploy, servers into racks. And we've worked with a number of clients that actually want to have their own appliance partnered with an OEM that they would offer as sort of a bundle or a one-stop solution that they then can be put on-prem. But definitely we support these modes because we do recognize a lot of enterprises do not want their data to leave their network. And even when running on these accelerators, whether it's for training or inference. And so that's the mode we support.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, and certainly mirror that on the Seekr side. So when it comes to the installation of Seekr Flow, as I mentioned, we don't expect everybody to just come and trust the cloud. We get it. A lot of companies have spent a very large amount of money. Their CISO has locked down their environment, whether it's on premise, a colo, either within the hyperscalers. They've implemented that ring fence around everything they do as well. So we want to make sure that Seekr Flow goes where the customer's data is. We want to make sure it's where their compute is at the same time. That's why we like AMD within cloud and why we like AMD installed on premise as well. So we can offer exactly that same solution. And then a level up on the software layer, we've always believed that the customer's data is their data. Most of the time, we never even see it. It's within their environment. We don't want to see it. We don't need to see it either. We want customers building the value out of that data, and why we go as far even to allow air gapping as well. If you use our cloud, very simple, your data is yours. We'll never train a common model from it. We'll never take your prompts and put those into a model. That's your environment, that's siloed away, and as strict as you want that silo to be.
Could you just speak to, you mentioned air gapping. That's something I'm not familiar with. Could you?
Yeah, so if you think some of the most restrictive controls would be specific, like government projects, for example. So air gapping is assume it has no communication whatsoever to the outside world. That's monitored, that's validated, that can sit within a box, Seekr Flow within it. That customer can bring that data into it, but it has no connections anywhere outside to other parts of the network, to the WAN as well. So we can even operate within that restrictive environment where the customer is responsible for putting that data there. They can build that model and they can extract that. No communication with the world.
Thanks for that clarification. We have another question, and thank you whoever asked that because it's related to ROCm, which I wanted to get to. So how does ROCm software enhance the performance and efficiency of AM Instinct MI300X? empowering Seekr AI for advanced model execution and cost-effective innovation on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Long question. Who wants to take that first? Yeah, maybe you could just talk a little bit about how you're leveraging ROCm software right now, Rob.
Yeah, perfect. I think for us it comes down to two things. One, the first is capabilities. Scott put it beautifully: is the speed things are moving within this space are so rapid right now. There are always more and more advanced ways to do things. And when I say advanced, I don't mean complicated. I mean, how can you compute more at a lower price as well? Again, speculative decoding, different pieces within that software. Scott also mentioned that I'll talk about the partitioning of a single card as well. So no wastage from all that memory, put in multiple small ones on there. All of the capabilities of ROCm for us, its integration with common libraries, open source libraries, enable us to use those and offer us to our customers. Again, we want the latest, we want accuracy, we want the best possible price performance for the customer, and it's the combination of hardware and ROCm together that we believe does that. And also looking forward, it's constantly updated. It's bringing in latest types of models, different types of kind of performance and models at the same time as well. And as we move away, I think, from traditional transformers, having a platform like AMD's and also the software that continues to unlock it means we can stay at the forefront at the same time, pass it on to our customers.
And Scott, I'm bring that over to you because you're dealing with not just Seekr AI, but you're dealing with many companies. Maybe you could just talk a little bit about what you're seeing with that open source software and being leveraged for their solutions.
Yeah, so I'll first say that the open source ethos we have here at AMD is very beneficial. We see solutions occur in the wild, essentially, sometimes before we can even tackle them. And that's a huge advantage for us. We get a lot of feedback from the open source community about what's working, what's not working, and we're able to sort of collate what the trends are in the software space and then put our engineering teams on optimizing the underlying code to those trends. A good example was, FA3. When FA3 was dropped, about 4 months ago, our teams were all over it, working with multiple partners to implement FA3 into our own stack. We recently have done some work with like SGLang on as opposed to VLLM, and optimizing that to basically deliver faster inference, right? So we are always looking for what the next invention is out there in the software space and making sure we're supporting it as quickly as possible so that the open source community and all of our customers and clients can take advantage of it.
Could you just give, for those of us who aren't always in this network of AI accelerators, what is CFA3?
Flash attention. It's the third version, if you will, of flash attention. It was actually a paper published by Tree Dow at Together AI. And then everybody reads the paper and they go do their own implementations.
Great. I do want to mention to our audience, I know we're going to go over time. We're still getting some questions from the audience and we have a few more prompts to get through. So just note that this will be available on demand for everybody. If you do have to leave a little bit early, please make sure you fill out that survey and you can always come back and watch the on-demand version. This is another question from our audience. What are the long-term goals of the partnership between AMD and Seekr AI?
You want to take it first, Scott? I'll give you mine.
Yeah, I think, we see that both Seekr and AI in general are tearing down technical barriers, right? They are making the process of adopting AI much simpler and much more fluid across entire organizations. That directly benefits AMD. If Seekr succeeds in, making more and more enterprises able to adopt AI for different use cases, that directly flows down to a need for compute. So we see it as a very symbiotic relationship. And, we're here to support Seekr and their, expansion of their pipeline, expansion into different markets, and just getting AI adopted everywhere. We want to see it everywhere, and if we do, I think we're all winning.
That's it. Couldn't agree more. And look, Seekr's a software company. We have very deep roots. We have very deep understanding. But everything we do is made possible by that hardware layer underneath. And that needs to be the right cost. It needs to be the right capabilities. It needs to be in the right volumes as well. And really, that was where the availability came from, that we could actually get chips at the scale that we need them to solve the problems we're solving, readily available, also in the market. And I actually love what Scott said as well around kind of the industry is almost coming up with the things to adopt as well. And the one thing that we found with AMD is that ROCm software updates so regularly in a wonderful way, because to me, it really reflects AMD's understanding and the importance of those features to their customers, so getting them in there. So we could not be happier about the relationship in terms of the problems we're definitely solving together, how we make all that possible.
Well, that kind of is a good little transition into our next prompt, which is what role do AMD accelerators play in scaling Seekr AI's platform on Oracle Cloud?
A perfect segue in there as well. But I think the thing I like, and when I talked about availability, is first and foremost, Oracle didn't flinch once when it came to the number of 300Xs that we'd been talking about, an ever-scaling number of them, because to solve the problems we're talking about with accuracy, we're constantly looking at vast amounts of real-time data as well. We're reading, we're understanding, we're ingesting. And you need that scale of hardware to actually do that. So performance aside, are they even available anywhere currently? And that's really what Oracle did with all those 300Xs chips. So we can get the numbers in the right geographies where we need them as well at the same time. Very easy to move data across them as well. And I think to add to that too, I think their cloud offerings, pretty seamless integration with containerization platforms, whether that's vanilla Kubernetes, different flavors Red Hat with OpenShift, and all the upcoming enhancements that they've shown us that we've seen when it comes to the workload management side of things as well. And the other thing I'll point out with Oracle, I think the right set of services. So we're very familiar running on as bare metal as it gets as well. We're focused on orchestration, but there's plenty of other customers within that stack that need a more fuller range of services, and all of those are there as well. Cherry on the cake, really the support too. The support and interaction between, especially not just with us, but AMD and Oracle's interactions have been fantastic. If we have a question around, okay, show us an 8-way partition on a GPU, AMD comes on the phone, Oracle comes on the phone, and they can set that up so quickly for you to get that going as well. So it's not like the cloud sits over here, the hardware producers over here. Are they talking? Are they not? Do they have the right software versions? It's a very integrated environment with availability and the best pricing as well. And we believe that combination of AMD, Oracle with Seekr software, it's superior to any other options that we've evaluated today.
Scott, do you have anything to add, or can we go to the next prompt?
I think we can go to the next prompt. That was well said.
So what strategies help Seekr balance cost efficiency with AI performance? We've talked, you've actually kind of answered this question already, but let's maybe just kind of directly answer it.
Yeah, I think the shortest one, the GPU partitioning is really important. We don't want wastage paying for memory that we're not able to use. We can slice 2-way, 4 ways, 8 ways very easily as well. Nothing is set idle. We focus also very heavily on that cost per token. How many tokens can we process every second? We want more tokens within that same time frame to drive that cost down as well at the same time as well. And lastly, I think it's just those advanced inference capabilities as well. I like that Scott talked about VLLM, which obviously was a big step up from TGI, which then we look at what the future looks like as well. Is that flywheel? Is that other fantastic inference engines that are coming out as well? And we know that the support's being added into the hardware and via ROCm.
Now, Scott, you'd mentioned partitioning coming to mind. Do you want to just give one little plug again for partitioning?
Yeah. I mean, it's really exciting for me. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe it's just the mathematical nature of it. But yeah, we actually have. If you go look at competitive solutions, they're a bit handicapped in this regard. I won't go into the details, but it's focused around 7-way versus 8-way on the GPU, and we can do the full 8-way, which that's a material increase, just percentage wise. I also wanted to say about it was our partnerships with just what Rob was talking about right here. Our partnerships with inference acceleration providers. We are engaged pretty much across the board there. That directly translates to cost per token, right? The faster you can serve these tokens through the inference engine, the better off the clients are. The whole stack above that is, and so we're tightly engaged with pretty much anyone we can find, and there's a lot of them. It's a crowded market right now. There's probably about 24 of these entities, but we're partnering with them to make sure that they are optimizing to AMD hardware and that they can offer the absolute best performance with AMD hardware on the back end.
Well, the last question is just for you, Rob. What can we expect from Seekr in the year ahead?
No, fantastic. So few of the things that we're working on bringing to market. Number one, really multi-agent systems. So agents that can solve an entire problem. This isn't the days of I ask a chatbot a question, it gives me a response, I continue my conversation as well. We see agents solving entire business problems, and they're not just waiting for prompts as well. Firstly, they can actually sit there, watch data, understand what's going on with the business, reason and make a decision right there and then with that feedback loop, not prompt driven anymore. And then also more autonomy, more access to tools. So not just vector search and RAG, knowledge graphs, web search, calculators, autonomy to plan and invoke the tools that they need when they're there as well. Thirdly, really industry specific models. So building models that truly understand key industries. They're not broad, they're not off the shelf in that sense. They really understand and they can reason. So you think about current solutions right now that really just use RAG. Think of RAG as more of just a lookup. Like you're relying on that vector database, giving you context and similarity. We imagine, and we've developed a system that uses fine-tuning of the model, industry-specific models that understand that data, that can then take sources from RAG, reason on it before they give those back, and then give that answer to the user. Far more accurate. It's almost like thinking, imagine me, not a doctor, reading a giant medical journal and trying to pick the most important things. Of course, I can match a few keywords, but you need some kind of expertise within the agent to do that as well. But we're excited, and we see our mission really as really worldwide. In this partnership with AMD and with Oracle, we expect to execute across all those geographies an integrated approach and really lead the way with what we see as trusted AI and how software and hardware actually allow that to exist as well. So high performance, low cost AI compute, that's a key role with international growth, and we get that with AMD and Oracle as well. So we continue to innovate, we continue to attract some fantastic customers that are coming to us to solve those problems. And really, we appreciate that partnership as well, because that hardware from AMD with the 300X range, with the availability within Oracle, really makes all that happen.
You know, you hear our CEO often talk about how we're at the beginning of this bell curve of AI. So, I mean, just to kind of end on this note, I mean, how exciting is this time to be in technology and with sort of AI in the last year, and how fast is it moving? So I'll start with you, Rob.
I think you almost just kind of said it right then. The excitement level is obviously is off the charts right now. Again, very transformational. We've seen different phases of AI, but it's very hard for people to get into them. Oh, I've heard about AI. I don't know, it's running inside the car, it's in the Roomba vacuum, cruising around and headbutting the wall. But all of a sudden, generative gave people a very human interface to talk to. It's like, oh my gosh, like, it actually understands me. I'm talking to AI right now and what that does. So that was really the big uplift and the start of really the bell curve there, was you could now interact with it. And now what we're really seeing is how that now has benefits, not just for the consumer, our day-to-day lives, a chat agent on our phone, what it's doing, but businesses continue to leverage it more and more and more. And again, efficiencies, fantastic, how exciting those are, they're important. But also, what does this open up bigger? What are the new revenue streams? How can we offer completely new things that we didn't even offer to our customers as well? So very transformational. And lastly, I'll say, and I certainly saw this on my last trip over to the Middle East, so within the UAE, within Saudi Arabia, is they really see how empowering this is to their people. So how you can start educating them now as users, as builders, as participants within that pays off in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years as well, because this isn't stopping. It's only getting faster and it's changing constantly. We'll keep getting better and better and better, no doubt.
Now, Scott, as somebody that manages partnerships with like Seekr AI and a bunch of other companies, are you now just seeing, is it exponentially growing the amount of people that are contacting you and wanting to get AMD hardware to run their AI solutions?
Yeah. There's no shortage of inbound opportunity. That's for sure. I think in terms of, my excitement level, it's higher than it's ever been. So I did fingerprint technologies for a decade, which was pretty exciting at the time. But this is way more exciting. And I'll give you an example of why I find it exciting. I have two little kids, 8 and 9 years old. In my mind, I've always wanted them to go into engineering, learn the mathematics, get these good paying engineering jobs. I see AI as eliminating the technical layers between a creator and their creation. And so now my thinking about my children is I think I want them to go maybe more into liberal arts, because they're probably going to be able to make a better future for themselves and contribute more to society in the future by just being creative, because there won't be any barriers to whatever it is you want to create.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I just got back from my trip in Tokyo, and we kind of talked about this offline, where it was, a bunch of young people bringing their ideas to life, and the amount of applicants was, from the 8 years previous to this event was more, and seeing what they were bringing their idea from idea to prototype. I mean, the efficiency and time is just cut in half. So it's really exciting to see what everybody's doing with AI. And Rob, I just want to say thank you so much in your busy schedule of coming here. I know initially we were going to do this the week before. You went to Dubai. I'm sure you're leaving somewhere else soon. So thanks again for coming on, Rob, and we look forward to
No,
having
it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott, as well. Always a pleasure solving great problems together.
Scott, and thank you so much for your last minute joining us. Really do appreciate your insights and expertise.
Not a problem. Anytime.
All right, guys, I'm going to close things out. I do want to remind everybody of our resources, which we have up on screen. We have our usual resources, including the ones that I mentioned in our little video, where you can find things, links to Seekr AI's or to Seekr's homepage. We also have our AMD Arena courses that are related to Instinct in there. And then, of course, our partner hub, which has been redesigned and easier for our partners to get what they need. So I encourage you to take a look at our redesigned partner hub. And then, of course, our Meet the Experts hub. You can find all of our webinars available on demand there. We also have this QR code that you can scan. It's also in the resources. So this will take you to the OCI Compute Try Before You Buy program with AMD Instinct MI300X GPUs. It's just a little form you fill out, and allowing businesses to test and benchmark machine learning applications before actually committing to purchase. And then finally, another QR code up here, which will take you directly to Seekr Flow. And this will help you simplify the AI development lifecycle by providing a unified platform to train, validate, and deploy and scale trusted AI applications with enhanced accuracy and data security. You can either scan those QR codes. We do have our presentation available in download if you want to download that, scan it there, or just go to the resources and click on it, and it'll take you right there. And finally, as I'd mentioned before, we've got our survey. It's just 3 questions. Please take a few minutes to fill that out and provide us your feedback. This is the last one of the year. We'll kick things off at the beginning of 2025 with our usual CES recap, where we'll be talking all of the consumer, commercial, and auto industry announcements that will be going on during CES. So I encourage you to monitor our Meet the Experts hub, where we'll have that up here very shortly. So thank you all, and I will see you in 2025. Thanks, everyone.